Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another edition of the Spurs Chat podcast. Yes, we are back again this week. So many podcasts this week. Now, my name is Chris Cowlin and I'm absolutely delighted to be joined by a very good friend of mine this evening. Of course, the voice of Spurs, James Black. Now, before we introduce him, James is actually here today to talk about Tottenham Hotspur, his love for Spurs, his incredible journey as a singer, working at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, performing at the after party when Spurs won the Europa League in Bilbao, and of course his performance at the parade at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium when Sonny and co were parading that trophy down the high road. What a day that was. James also has a new EP being released this week called Live in Bilbao, where two charities will hopefully receive a lot of money on the back of it. James, great to have you here. You're joining me from Indonesia, so the time difference, I think you're about 12:30 midnight. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, a little bit tired, but I'm good, man. I'm not doing too much out here, resting quite a lot. So, and the voice has finally come back after a grueling end to the season. But yeah, I'm all good, man. I'm still buzzing off the win, still buzzing. Yeah, how are you? How are you, Morgan?
I'm all right. I'm good, James. I tell you, it's over a month ago since we lifted the Europa League, and it just I absolutely loved every single minute of it. But that's what I was going to start actually, because how is the voice? Because the voice of Spurs, I tell you what, you must need a rest because you've been singing all season long, and when we won that trophy, it's been non-stop for you.
Yeah, well, the thing was before we got to the final, I mean, last season I did a lot of traveling, so I did like a tour, and when it was away games, I'd be going all around the world playing for official supporters clubs. So by the time it got to Bilbao, I mean, I was going to America and back and like spending 3 days this, 3 days there. My body clock was all over the shop. I was doing a lot of singing, so it was already tired. And then Bilbao, the fan park, it was so good. I gave that a lot, and then it's just screaming at that ref for 90 minutes against Man United. So that's probably done it more than anything. Blow the effing whistle 2,716 times was probably there. And then straight after that, obviously going to the after party, and then the thing is with this, it's not really just singing. You're chanting as a fan. That's my job, really. It's not just music and singing gig. Yeah. It's a lot of it's like you're shouting as a fan, basically. So it can take its toll, and it's better, but I was worried for a little bit. Another injury for Spurs right at the end, but I was worried that I've done some serious damage. But yeah, 4 weeks in the sun, it's a bit better.
James, I expect a lot of people have been wound up in the last month or so, particularly singing one song. And I've got a bit of a bone to pick with you because I haven't stopped singing a particular song, this one. That's what it's been like the last month.
Mate,
it's incredible.
Every time my head hits the pillow like this, it bang, it starts. You know what I mean? I can't get it out of my head. Still, like 4 weeks later, it's mental. You remember that at the stadium at half time? Don't know if you ever got when you went out into the concourse. It was just huge. The whole concourse was just bellowing it out, and that was amazing. But yeah, it's a real
that clip for me and you there singing. I say I'm singing. I'm just mucking around. You're the singer. But I mean that the atmosphere before that Brighton game, which of course was the last game of the season, we just won the Europa League. But that atmosphere, I've been to see you, a number of times at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. But that day, everyone was partying, weren't they?
Oh, it's crazy. Yeah, it was unbelievable. I remember I walked into the back of the block, 120, and it was just, I couldn't see a way through to the stage. And you come up to me, didn't you? You can I have a photo mucking about? I was like, yeah. And then I thought, well, I've got to get to the stage because the song starts. I've got to add it to We're the Champions. And I just didn't make it in time because I couldn't get to the stage. It was that joyous, and everybody was so happy, and just like that vibe was just, yeah, it's just incredible. And there's nothing better for me than seeing Spurs fans happy, and it was incredible. That it was like I live off that vibe, and that was probably the ultimate. I say that, but it was all mad, like the trophy parade. Like, obviously, we'll get into all of it, but every single one of them things was just the best time ever, and they all came straight away. So it's the same for all of us, also Tottenham fans. We lived a mad 5 or 6 days madness of all this euphoria that's pent up for 17 years. I think, for me anyway, I think it's a bit longer, because that does not compare to 91 FA Cup and 2008 League Cup to me. That was massive, huge.
Mental,
and it was an outpouring of maybe 4 decades for some of us, you know. So, yeah, incredible.
Yeah. James, before we talk about the new EP and the charities that you're supporting on this, and we've got a lot to discuss. Let's start from the very beginning. When did you know that you wanted to have that microphone in your hand and be a singer? How did it all start? And also talk us through how you got the job at Spurs, and how that all started, and what was the first game singing?
So with singing, I was a bit of a naughty kid at school. And we had these things called demerits. So basically, you're in like 4 different houses, and you get a demerit if you're naughty, which means your house loses 3 merits. And I remember getting a demerit for getting a demerit, because I laughed about getting a demerit. And I had about like 30 of them going on. You bring your house down, it's a lot of pressure as a kid. And the headmaster said, we need people to do a bit of singing for some German thing that was coming in. And he said, and if you take part, you will wipe off all your demerits. So I went, all right, just something. I never know I could do it. So it's down to him. I luckily just could sing. And then it just went from there, really. I think then I got expelled from school. And the kids that were older than me, I started hanging around with them because they could get cigarettes and alcohol and stuff. And they were in a band, and I couldn't go to school anymore, so I just started singing in their band, and it just kind of went from there. Really, it's a bit lucky, really. And do you know what? I had nothing else. Like, I kind of threw myself at music, hoping it would pay off, and it kind of has done. Really.
Were you always like a solo singer, or were you in bands?
Always bands. No, so then we just we had like the lead guitarist and the drummer from the Prodigy, like live bands, and we was going on tour with those guys and with Kasabian, and fell into this kind of circle of celebs, as you will, I suppose, which was real fun, but a lot of partying that kind of got out of hand. So it wasn't really, didn't really like all that, really, that sort of stuff. So like going too full on. So I left that, and then the Spurs thing kind of happened. Luckily, really, a friend of mine had a box, and he said, "Will you come and be my guest when we was at Wembley?" And I said, "Yeah." And then someone was playing like a covers or something, and I said to this guy, "Why is he not doing Tottenham?" And luckily, it was the guy that was booking it, and he said, "No, we haven't really sort of thought that through." And I said, "Well, give me an audition, or give me like a free ticket to Man City when we lost 1-0 to Man City at Wembley. I think it was 2019. And that was the first one. And Mickey Hazard was there. And I said, "Look, all I've got is Tottenham." And he said, "Well, I'll sing along." And he was just down in the crowd, and he was sort of singing along while I was doing Ozzy's Dream and stuff like that. And it sort of hit straight away, really. I say hit straight away. It wasn't like, "Oh, bang, this is amazing." Like kind of this heights that it kind of has luckily got to now, but it took off. People sort of got it sort of pretty early on, I think.
How do you feel now, James, when you're at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium? You know, so many people, thousands of people come round just to see you play, hear you sing. Everyone's got their phone in their hands, me included, taking videos of you with the atmosphere, because the atmosphere is electric all the time. What's that feeling like to have so many smiling faces, people singing back at you? What's that feeling like for you?
Yeah, it's as good as what any Tottenham fan would think it would be like, really, because and especially last season, it's all on the pre-game for me, because I can't affect. I mean, none of us can. Well, we can for a bit, you know. I mean, affect the performance on the pitch, but very minimal as far as a fan base is down. The game's out of our hands quite a lot, and the pre-game is amazing, because it's always like it's going to be. We know it's going to be good now because we built up this following. Yeah, and to have that. Also, like the younger fans, I remember being that age and try and make at least one of them on stage, or it's a bit special for somebody each time. I try and do a bit of that. It just makes me feel good, really. But in regards to the fans singing back, like I just said to you, the tours that I've done were massive, but nothing is compared to Tottenham fans singing back. Even if it's just 50 fans singing it back, nothing compared to Tottenham's ear and music's right down the bottom. It's not like there's such a huge difference. Tottenham's everything to me, so it feels as good as it would feel for any other Tottenham fan.
How did the love for Spurs begin in your life?
So it's weird. It's a weird one, and probably show a bit of my age. But when I was really, really small, Spurs lost the 1987 Cup final, and I was apparently crying when the goals were going in for Coventry, and I cheered a Tottenham goal, and I was really young. So parents had got me like Tottenham books, thinking that's what I liked. And it kind of was the next year Gascoigne signed, and I was quite a cheeky little kid, and I was quite attracted to that cheeky personality. And it just solidified from that, and then it just become just a pure obsession. It's always been. You're probably the same as me. It's always been this important. Not like even as a young kid, it was always just everything. My whole mood was just, even as a kid, like I say, it was still just defined by Tottenham. So and that has never left. It's maybe I'm being just a big kid, but that's never left me.
It's funny, James, because when I was younger, if Spurs lost that weekend, I wouldn't talk to anyone for the rest of the weekend. I'd be like a sulky little kid who just did not want to talk. And now, look at me now, the fact that, you know, win, lose or draw, I'm on the podcast talking about it non-stop. So how times change. But you mentioned there, one of your first heroes then, as a Spurs fan, was Paul Gascoigne. Yeah. You recently met Paul Gascoigne. How was that?
So yeah, that was madness. Like I opened up for him, so I was playing, and I was playing for one of his events that he did. So it was amazing. And just when I've met him twice actually. First time I met him was quite funny. We had you know, the guy that I mentioned about the gig as well. He had a box at Wembley, so Gascoigne was there, and there was a few other people in the box. There was quite a nice looking girl as well. And we all went over to meet Gascoigne. And the whole time he was shaking my hand, he was just looking at the girl, not even looking at me. So I'm meeting my hero, he's not even looking. And I was saying to him, just because in Wembley, I was going, just there, you're the goal, the free kick. And do you know what I mean? And he's just going, yeah. He wasn't even interested. So that was the first time. But the second time was a lot better. So got to meet him. Just before I met him, they mentioned about Gascoigne's signature, and he won't sign too many things because he needs to keep the value of his signature, which you understand. Yeah. And it was the opposite when he came in, and he saw my guitar. Luckily, I'd just done a gig with Yorkshire Spurs 2 weeks before, and Glenn Hoddle was signed it. And he saw Glenn Hoddle's signature on my guitar, and he goes, "Give us that here. I signed it bigger than that effer." And he just signed it. He signed it massive on my guitar, because I don't know if Gascoigne and Hoddle had a bit of a fallout or whatever, but he was joking. He was tongue in cheek. He goes, "I'll sign it bigger than that," and he just signs it massive on my guitar. And he was just awesome. He had some great stories, man.
James, you mentioned earlier, of course, we know that you're performing at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium every other week, of course, when we have a home game. But when we played away, last season, you were doing a tour all around the world. You were always at a different supporters club event. How was that?
Oh yeah, that's been the biggest thing that happened last season for me, really. Well, up until Bilbao, because just it happened. I think Washington might have been the first one. Washington DC, and I went there, and it really opened my eyes to the dedication of these fans. So I know people kind of tend to label things as tourist fans and stuff like that, but seeing the dedication and the sheer disappointment, and they're not putting this on. People were storming out of the pub when goals going in, saying, "I've had enough of this," and this is at 4 a.m. or 5 a.m. And for a lot of these places, they can't have a drink or anything like that with this, and they're just turning up to get together to watch their team at these times. That is not the sign of somebody who's a weak fan. That's dedication, and I kind of saw that early on, and just what another addiction of mine it was to see this around the world and just see how big this is and see how big we are as a club. And I feel proud of Tottenham, how big they are around the world, and just seeing it at first hand. So yeah, it's been amazing the amount of places I've been to, and I've got a lot of love from a lot of people, and it blows my mind. It just blows my mind.
James, you must be incredibly proud of what you've achieved, because when you went in, to that game at Wembley, and you were then singing alongside Mickey Hazard, from going to that to then singing. I know we'll talk about the parade and the final in a minute, but to go from that game at Man City at Wembley to what you've achieved, you must be incredibly proud of that.
Yeah. To be honest, I'll be lying if I said that. I'm not. Yeah, I am actually. It's again, I've achieved quite a lot of things in music, and had a kind of wasn't supposed to succeed in life, and only had music when I was growing up, really. And so I was proud of that for a certain stage. And I've been in some bands where I'm still mates with these people, and my drummer Steve, he was in the first band that I was in, and then we had some amazing times. It was just incredible. But yeah, it's just I just didn't see it happening, really. Like I don't see myself really as a musician. I've not taken this opportunity and then gone on to try and force singer-songwriter stuff down Spurs fans' throats, going, "What about this song? What about mine?" Because I'm an extension of the Tottenham fans. I'm a Tottenham fan with a guitar, rather than like trying and give myself like a career off the back of it. You see, I don't know. That's probably been the proudest thing, really. Yeah, for now, I am very proud of that.
Where do you see yourself in, say, James, where do you see yourself in 5-10 years' time? Will you still be doing the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, or would you have moved on to bigger and better things? Perhaps got a band of your own, touring? Where do you see yourself in that time?
I think the short answer to that is there isn't anything better. There isn't anything better than this.
I love that answer.
And I'll tell you why. I tell you why I know that, and I absolutely know that, is if I won the lottery this Saturday and I had all the money in the world, I'd want to do this job. And that puts it in perspective of just how lucky and happy I am with what I'm doing, what I can do with the club and the fans and stuff. That is the absolute truthful answer. If I won the lottery, I'd want to do this job. So there is nothing better. Like I said, I'm not trying to force like a singer-songwriter thing, use it as a platform to then go and do my own thing. And that's not really what I'm about. I'm just Tottenham.
Do you know, James, at the parade, as you well know, we were right opposite where you were singing. You probably wouldn't have seen us because 200,000 plus people there. And I actually said to Ricky Norwood, Darren Altman, Craig was there as well. And I actually said to all of them, James must be absolutely loving this right now, because, wherever you looked, left, right, there were Spurs fans everywhere, hundreds of thousands of Spurs fans. And of course, that trophy parade was incredible. But I actually said to them then, that James is now performing to more people than most extremely famous musicians' bands at some of the biggest events. Who gets the chance to sing in front of like a couple of 100,000 people?
Yeah, it's insane. And we've got to remember that trophy parade, we'd just come back from the party, and which went through to silly o'clock, and I'd already lost my voice before the game. So my voice was just gone, and I was being told, I'm in the meeting, you're in the production meetings. It's that big. You're in production meetings, and I'm sitting there going, "Oh my God," looking at me, ginger and lemon, thinking, "You've got to see me through this." I wasn't allowed to talk to anyone. Wasn't allowed to use my voice for anything, and so it's a mixture of this is the biggest thing ever, and oh my God, I'm not going to be able to sing it, because I wasn't able to sing, not really. But I think what I've been used to over the years is performing. With Tottenham, it's gone sort of bigger and just wanting to get people to really enjoy that moment. And it just lent a lot more on that. Steve helped me out, the drummer, he'd done a lot of the singing. But just before we went out, the guy who was looking after the parade said, if you look to your left, there's 2 helicopters filming you. And it's 225,000 people. And he was right, I was looking to the left and saw helicopters in the sky, and then looked to the right and just saw loads of people like hanging off roofs. And it was just, it's incredible.
Do you feel nervous on that day of the parade?
No, because my dream had already come true with Tottenham winning the trophy. Nothing was in my brain apart from just happiness. Well, like the throat was a bit of a concern, as if I could perform, but nervous, no. The thing is, if you you don't see that amount of people, you only see the people that are just in front of you, and it's just exciting. You know, like I said, you got helicopters, you got to see flares everywhere. Not because it's the 70s. You see people hanging off the roof. Look, the best bit actually, I thought, we looked to the right for our second set, and we just saw a sea of people. That couldn't see the end of. That was just insane. The fan park was even more mad for that. The fan park, when me and Steve were on stage, we could see back, could not see the end of people, could not see the end. It was just kilometers and kilometers. And then when it got to the very, very deep bit, we was watching people climb trees. And it was just wow. It was just wow. It's just, again, it's the same as you would think it would be if you was on stage doing it. It was just, it was amazing.
I tell you what, James, that day for me, some of the best days of my life. That Bilbao to the parade on that Friday, incredible. I want to feel like that all the time, and I want Spurs to win trophies just for days like that, because they were absolutely amazing. Talk to me.
Can I ask you one question? What was your when the final whistle went? What was that for you? What did you do?
Do you know, I've said this story on the channel already. As I normally do, I've got the phone out of my pocket, and I don't swear on this channel. And I got the phone out of my pocket, and I started filming as soon as the final whistle went. Started filming, and I just shouted, "We've effing done it!" And I probably repeated it about 10 times. We've effing done it. We've effing done it. Like goosebumps even talking about this now, right? And then it's funny because I looked at my camera and I hadn't even pressed record.
So, this is Sonny was swearing as well. Do you know what I mean? Not characters that would swear. I mean, it's raw emotion. It's just insane.
Everyone was crying. Everyone, you know, I think more people were in tears than I saw smiles. Everyone was so emotional. It was just such an incredible time. And like I said, we want, you know, times like that all the time. But talk to me about your day, the final. Because you were with the likes of Sandro, you were with the legends as well. You know, that final whistle, and then what I'm really interested in, and I know the viewers and listeners will be really interested to hear this, is that you had an after party where you were with the players, you were with Ange Postecoglou, you were with the Europa League trophy. As you're talking now, I'm going to play some videos, but that must have been incredible for you.
Well, the after party, it's insane. So that kind of, the thing with that is, like, imagine how nervous you were, Chris, at that part at the game. We found out before the game started that we were going to go and play this, and obviously, if we didn't win, it would just be to like a room full of empty paper. Or if we won, it's going to be this. So now imagine the nerves. I'm the most nervous person in the world at a final, like same as you guys are. And now imagine this is coming on top, that you knew you were going to play with for the party. We got to the party, and I'll tell you what the biggest insight I can give to you is the management, the players, and it was just relief. There was a lot of love in the room. There was all like hugging each other's families and friends. There was a lot of unity. It was just incredible to see, a lot of love. And whoever was on stage, what happened to me, as you're seeing now, is stage invasions started to happen. So they started to bring the trophy up. They hit the drummer over the head with the trophy. And then Romero takes his hat off. He's wearing his hat and got mine or Steve's shades on. And they're just, I remember him hitting him over the head to start laughing. And then, I got to speak to Ange about the song. And he recognised me as I went over there as well. And that was quite, I never knew he would do that because I've never met him before.
Hold on. What did Ange say about the song?
Well, he said two things. He goes, "Oh yeah, that's right." And this is not just his Australian or it's a cliche. He goes, "Yeah, it's a ripper, wasn't it?" So he said that, and he said, "Oh yeah, that's right. You're the guy who wrote the song." And I explained to him, saying, "Well, the reason that I wrote this is because once I heard you was coming to the club, I did my due diligence on you at Celtic, and it's the way that I wanted to play, and it kind of come from that." And he said, "Oh yeah, he said it's amazing," and he said it was a ripper, which is definitely the cliche that sounds like I've made up. But yeah, I tell you what, overall, nobody got many words off Ange. He was just kind of very quiet. He was a very quiet figure at the party that was so concerned with the players having fun. And having relief, and he just stood there with his wife, and the respect that the players got was quite a lot. From what the players given him was quite a lot, and back as well. And it wasn't just Ange and the players. I mean, the players to each other. The best thing that I got from that party was seeing just how close that unity is between everybody, really. And it was so. For example, Maddison would come up on stage, and it would be sing. We were singing Johnson's on Fire, and then Johnson would come up with a mic and he would be singing it, and then Madders would come up and he'd sing Matisse is on Fire, knowing that Matisse was left out of the squad, and the squad would sing to him and they'd get him involved. And it was that kind of family feel that was the most amazing thing for me. And it started off a bit like a school disco for Basuma. He'd have his own little corner with his entourage and stuff, but then we'd get him up bit by bit. We'd sing his song and he'd come up. And to play the players' songs to the players and having them involved. And the one thing that we didn't do was take pictures or videos, and I never really got into that and did that. And that is a bit of a concern of mine. I didn't do that, but
you're a professional.
Yeah, I was there to sing and I was there to entertain, and I wasn't just there and played a few songs and that was it. We got to talk and have fun and get close with the players for 7-8 hours or whatever it was. It was just incredible, mate. It was something that I'll never ever forget. It was like, again, the relief I just told you, for 4 decades. And imagine being in a room and you're playing a gig and they brought that trophy on stage and they hit your drummer over the head. And there was like, I don't know, was someone put some sort of liquid in it, and Dragosin was there after drinking something. I don't know what it was. I don't really know what was going on, but it was.
Did Sonny get up and sing?
Yeah, see, this is the bit. Sonny, I'm singing "Nice One, Sonny." He comes in the room. He comes up, grabs my mic, puts his arm around me, saying, "We won the Europa League," and he's singing "Nice One, Sonny" with me. And then, but there is one video of it that someone had sent me, but it's just so blue. There are blue lights there. I don't know why it was there, but it's so blue you can't really see what's going on. But I know. You know what I mean? And I think have you seen that video where he's dancing to "Nice One, Sonny"?
Yeah.
Have you seen that? So that's me singing. And you'll see at the end of that video, he comes to walk on stage, and someone's got a video of him doing it, and he starts singing "Nice One, Sonny." And he goes, "We won the Europa League" to everyone. And then they bring the trophy up again. It was just constantly like that. And they were going one more song, and it's the Tottenham players, so I can't not sing. I've got no voice again by then. So this is one of the reasons why it went. You don't stop singing for Spurs when you just won the Europa League.
What time did that party finish then, James? And who left? Can you say who left? Having had a fair few drinks.
Well, I left before a few of them because
did you? You left before them.
Well, I was kind of told to because of the parade. I was kind of like, do you know what I mean? Bit of that going on, which is good because look at the parade. I had to kind of shout my way through that anyway. Most of them are all roughly the same. But a few of them left early. Kulusevski had a couple of glasses of champagne with us, and then put his hair in his crutches. I've seen something where he's tapping his crutches along to the songs, which is quite funny. He left a little bit earlier, but the rest of them they were all in there together. Really, I left before quite a few of them. Sonny left a little bit early. I don't know if he had sort of things to do or whatever. He had commitments and stuff, but he left a little bit early as well. But it was all just so good-natured. It's all just good-natured, clean, nice fun. You know what I mean? But everyone having a drink and having a laugh.
Can I ask you, James, when you had that short exchange with Ange Postecoglou, did you think, and of course a couple of days later, at that parade, he come out and said that season 3 is always better than season 2. But after that final, seeing Ange, seeing the board members, Daniel Levy get up on the stage, saying we've done it, and of course, you partying with the players, you sharing the microphone with a number of the players. Did you think then that Ange would be in charge for a 3rd season?
Trying to work way back to what I was thinking. Yeah, if I'm honest, just about though. It wasn't like a definite yeah, but if you'd asked me to put money on it there and then after that party, there wasn't anything there really to make me think that it wouldn't carry on. And I don't know. It's really hard. I know, to be honest, and I can say this, I was quite drunk at the time. So, but I can remember thinking, this can't be the end. But yeah, not really. But so we was on the stage there, and Ange was just to the left on a table with his wife, and they were just having the loveliest bit on that. Him and his wife just hugged for ages, and you could sort of see the relief. They were kind of the first two in the room because we had to set up beforehand, and they just had a really nice moment. You could see that he's just a lovely family man. You see the relief. He did deliver on it, and you could see what it meant to him personally, and that was nice to see firsthand. And then me thinking, getting ready, going, I wrote your song, mate. You know what I mean? Going over there. While he's hugging his wife. Out of the way, my turn.
Did you always know if Spurs won the game? Of course, you were at the game, but if Spurs won the game, did you always know that you would be doing that after party?
Yeah. I found that before kickoff. So before kickoff, we kind of got, and we was already really happy with how the fan part went. And then, like, the game means everything to me. And like, I would, if I didn't have this job, I would still feel exactly the same in that game. It means my whole world, no matter what. Even before this game, like the '91 Cup final, and 2008 is my whole world, and 2019 obviously as well. So yeah, we knew, and you can't. That just takes things to an astronomical level of stress, because you've got the whole stress of that league, of the trophy drought and the game and what it means, and then you're thinking, well, hang on a minute, you can go and party with the trophy and the players and the manager. So yeah, I just didn't know what to do. Like, I didn't enjoy, and I don't think many of us didn't enjoy that game. And those last 7 minutes were just horrendous. And then when the final whistle went, I collapsed on the floor. Like, I didn't have everything left me, and I just sobbed, to be honest with you. Like, I don't mind admitting, I just sobbed. I was on the floor and I was collapsed. But it was
such an emotional time. Yeah. James, we've got a question here from Connor. It says, Chris, can you ask James what guitarist mainly inspired him to pick up the guitar?
Well, to be honest with you, Oasis were a big influence when I was younger. To be honest, it was a bit more of that. It was like I went to see him at Earls Court at a young age and thought, right, that's what I want to do. It was everything. You could walk like them, talk like them. It was a bit of everything that drew me in from a young age. I know it's very cliche for my age group, but it's true.
James, let's go back a little bit, because before the game, you were performing at the fan park. I did try and get close to where you were. Absolutely no chance. There were thousands of people in that fan park, and it must have taken us actually about an hour to get a beer at that time as well. Okay. It was incredible. Yeah, there's so many people there. But of course, thousands of people, I suppose it's what is to be expected. But how was that for you? Because that just seemed incredible as well for you.
Oh, mate, yeah, it was. It's hard. Every time I'm talking about something, it does feel like that was the best moment. So it's like, it's hard to put it into words. The first set we did was like, okay, we put it down as a warm up. We was thinking, right, we'll do a little warm up, and then we'll do the second set. It was about an hour or so, an hour and a half later. But for some reason, the first set was absolutely incredible. It just went down an absolute storm, and then Sandro turns up, and we're doing like, and we're saying like he wants to do a song, and it's just. I remember Ledley King was there, and I know Ledley from a few of the events now. We were having a laugh, and he was pretending to be the barman. I was always asking for something. Go and get that, mate, and trying to get him as people who work for me. We was all having a big joke in the green room. That in itself was just surreal. Being sort of at that stage, or where we're chatting with these that are legends of mine and heroes of mine, So none of it. I've spent a month in Indonesia and still none of it computes. None of it. I've tried to make sense of it, and none of it computes. And I know Spurs fans can apply a value to that, because still none of it computes. But it's still mainly in my brain is the fact that we lifted that trophy. All these amazing things that I've done and I love and I'm very proud of. And it's still nothing compared to that full-time whistle and that trophy. That's still the best bit by far. But it's just madness. So when you ask me these questions, I think you guys, your listeners and yourself, Chris, will know what I'm on about with these feelings, because it feels like that. It feels like that, but again, if you know what I mean. But yeah, the fan part was insane.
Throughout the whole of the time that I was talking about winning a trophy, the parade, the fan part, goosebumps. Honestly, every single time I talk about it, goosebumps. It's just one of the best moments of my life, and I'm sure it is you as well. And it's funny you mentioned Sandro. What a character he is, because I often see him. I always put my hand out to shake his hand, and then suddenly his two arms come round my head, because he always goes in for that hug. He's such a hugger. But yeah.
I think in the podcast, I think, doesn't he? Yeah, he's amazing.
He's brilliant.
Yeah.
James, let's move on to talking about the new EP, because you are releasing the EP this coming Saturday. Let's play it for everyone, or a sample of the EP. It's about a minute long. And then you can tell us all the details about how people can buy it and the charities that will benefit from this. James, this is incredible, and every single Spurs fan needs to have this EP. Tell us all about it. How did it all come about? Of course, it is called Live in Bilbao. How can people get hold of it from Saturday? How much does it cost? And we'll talk about the charities in a second.
So it come about with wanting people to be able to relive that sonically, basically. So it's taken from the fan park, it's taken from the after party, it's taken from the trophy parade, and it's taken bits of it and synced in together. So it's you guys that you'll listen to. I'm just guiding it, and I like to do that with my recordings anyway. I don't want to be like I'm an extension of the fans. I don't see myself as right, it's me, and then so I'm with you. So it's that really. It's you'll hear yourselves in it basically, and be able to relive it whenever you want to. And it's available on Saturday. It's available on all streaming platforms, so Spotify, iTunes, everything, your favourite ones. It'll be there. How much it is, I've forgotten to be honest, but it's not a great deal. It's a competitive rate. I think a lot of it's done by streaming rather than prices, and then iTunes, I can't really remember, unfortunately, but it's not a lot. And yeah, the money's going to, as I always like to try and do, is going to charities. So every penny will go to 2 different charities.
I think I'm right in saying as well, James, that this is an exclusive. We've actually played this for the first time, this trailer. Yeah,
I've not even put it up myself yet, so I'm going to put it up on Saturday. Some audio clippings. It might be a slightly different visual, but yeah, this is exclusive of which tracks it is and what they sound like. So, and you'll hear it. Do you know what, Chris? You haven't forgot yet, but in Johnson again, your voice is in that.
I heard it. Yeah. I cringed a little bit.
Yeah, man, this is what it's about. Michael Bridges in the Oh What a Night. He comes on stage for that, and that was done at the gig, the party thing that he was talking about. But it's just collecting that mood that we was all in, and trying to put it up online so we can always go back to it.
I'm not just saying this because you're my friend and you're here on the podcast, but I tell you what, the work that you do for Spurs fans, the mood, the really good mood that you put people in, that togetherness. And I tell you what, like I said, before that Brighton game, I know the result was a terrible one on the last day of the season, but before that game, and even though we had that result, people were still celebrating the Europa League success. But that was incredible, James, to bring people like that together, and you are at the heart of it. Like I say again, you must be very proud of that, but you must pinch yourself sometimes, thinking, "My God, look at this! Look at all of these fans like singing together, having a beer, having a laugh. That togetherness it is incredible, isn't it?"
Yeah, I do. The same as what I said before. The best way to describe it is, and I feel this when I go away. When I go away for 3 months end of each season, come back for the next season, I really do honestly feel like a lottery winner. Like it's that massive. It's that good feeling for me, because any Tottenham fan would want this. I think would want to be in this position. And the flip side of it is the season that we've all had and how hard it is, as you've seen on the podcast, and Craig, Darren, Melvin, all the guys, Josh, that do this regularly. It's so hard to come on and after something like that. And I'm just, again, as I say, I'm an extension of how everyone feels. I'm the same as that, and we've had such a tough season. So you kind of we all deserve that time. Yeah. And my job has always been, I've got to try and G people up when we're in terrible moods. So, and that's been hard, but being used to it and cutting through that for so many years has given me the skills to kind of be able to do it to the best of my ability when something really does take off. And yeah, I'm the luckiest person in the world, Chris. But people look to me for to have a good time at Spurs, and I want Spurs fans to be as happy as they were in Bilbao all the time and going forward. But it's not realistic, obviously, with bad results and stuff. But certainly doing my best. I'm not. The thing is, when we lose, I'm still the same as I told you about that little kid who wants to just go home, turn all the lights off and sulk. I don't want to be still playing. I don't want to be, but I kind of have to be now from where things have led. So
I know we've had this conversation quite a few times, both on the podcast and privately as well. I know sometimes when we get on the phone, it's never a 5-minute conversation. Me and you can talk forever. But it's hard. It's hard, isn't it? It's hard picking up that microphone when we're just lost at home and we're going through those bad results. It must be very hard for you to do that, to try and pick everyone up and be all jolly because, your mind isn't like that.
Yeah, it's hard. It's very hard now. But before you're almost impossible because I don't know if you found this in the early times when you're doing what you're doing, but when people are getting used to you and kind of seeing, I think people takes me now and say, no, I'm true Tottenham, through and through. But imagine singing for fans when you're about a year into it. Not many people know who you are. You've just lost 2-0 at home to Bournemouth. They're coming out of the stadium and you're there singing. How bad does that look? And I had to be all I did was play how I felt. So I wouldn't be there playing Tottenham. I would be like doing a bit of blues or something, or just doing it quite quiet, not want to get in anyone's way, just knowing how they feel. Let's leave the stadium, trying to leave the stadium. And I just did it like that rather than, hey, when the Spurs, when we just lost. I can't do that. I have to be me. So I think that's how I've managed to get through that storm. But it's still hard now, but not as hard as it used to be because people at least know that when I'm up there, they know how I feel.
James, let's go back to talking about the EP because, as I mentioned a couple of times already during the show, that 2 charities will benefit from this. And it's fair to say you've done a fair bit of charity work over the last couple of years with a number of the songs that you've produced and sung. Now, Small Steps, Big Impact, Barley's Babies Need You, and the Tottenham Hotspur Foundation. These are the 2 charities that will benefit from this EP. I'm going to play a short video. While I do that, if you could just tell us a little bit about what's going on in the video, where you are, who you're talking to, and about the charities themselves.
Okay. This is Barley Baby Home, and that's Barhan that runs it. So Barley Baby Home it's like a non-profit foundation in Indonesia. It's a safe house for babies whose lives are threatened due to unwanted pregnancies. And the founder who you just saw there he's rescued these babies like from jungles, from rivers, from the highways of Bali. And this is me with Indonesia Spurs, who put on an amazing event and a charity thing for Barley Baby Home. So the story, I'll be honest with you, Chris, the stories were very harrowing, hearing about them being abandoned in the jungle, in the rivers, in the highways, and you going into these rooms and seeing it. It was very heartbreaking. And I knew from that moment, then I wanted to try and do something, at least I can shine a light on it. All the money that we're trying to raise goes towards necessities like the nutritious foods they would have and necessary medication that the babies need. So I think there's a GoFundMe link that you've added to this. So if anybody can donate what they can, and this is me with Indonesia Spurs at the end, they were just an amazing bunch of people who've helped out. And this guy, he's got 3 now in Bali, got 3 different homes, and it's just incredible work that he's done. He works with the babies, he works with the mothers, if the mother's still there as well. He's just an angel, mate, to be honest. So I wanted to try and help wherever I could.
James, just before we went on air, I just donated £100 to this charity.
Oh, mate.
So I just hope that a lot of our viewers and listeners do exactly the same and give what you can, because as James said, the money is much needed for this charity. Barley Babies Need You. So if you can donate, please do. James, the other charity that will be benefiting is the Tottenham Hotspur Foundation.
Yeah, so the Spurs Foundation. This is like I think a few people might know about this, but this is I found the best way of giving back to the community of Tottenham that do so much for me. They kind of help people in the area, like the society's most vulnerable people. So people who are going through serious illnesses or need care, recovering from illnesses, some children that are affected, but also they concentrate on opportunities for youth and education and employment, but it's all done in the Tottenham area. So it's more of a local based thing that I wanted to do, keep it at home as well, you know, that this people benefit from this. And I spoke to a few people at the foundation, I've had a few phone calls with them, and we've had some really nice back and forth. And they're lovely people doing some amazing work. And I think it comes under the umbrella with the club as well. Tottenham Hotspur Foundation.
James, before I ask you about the season just gone and the new season ahead, I want to play the EP full album teaser again, just so people can get the feel of it yet again and, put their orders in from Saturday. Honestly, I could just keep replaying that throughout the whole of this podcast. Absolutely love it. All these songs I've been singing for the last month, just around the house, winding all my family up. But yeah, it's been brilliant. So best of luck with that, James. And as James mentioned, on YouTube and all of the other places where we put this as an audio platform and as a podcast and a video platform, all of the links are there. So you can donate to Barley's Babies. The link is there, so please help them out if you can. Also, the Tottenham Hotspur Foundation, and you can donate to them independently, and you can also buy this EP available from Saturday on all major audio platforms. And James will be promoting that from Saturday heavily. So please do support that wonderful cause. James, let's get your opinion on last season, because it was very, very tough. And as you mentioned, the amount of podcasts that I hosted, Craig hosted, and all of the other guys who are the regulars on the channel, came on. 22 league defeats. That was really, really hard. I know you probably sung a half of them being the home games. But of course, we won the Europa League. So overall, we finished the season on a high. Of course, the club have made a change in Ange Postecoglou going, Thomas Frank coming in. What would be your quick assessment of last season, and how are you feeling right now as a Spurs fan of Thomas Frank? And I also want to know, I know there's a lot of questions here, and I know I do this a lot. I ask one question, then followed by 5 or 6. Thomas Frank, have you got a song in mind?
Yeah, I have, yeah.
Of course you have.
Yeah, but this is kind of how the Ange one come about. It's when I was travelling and just you just throw ideas in your head and just look. It might not go at all like it did last time. I'm fully aware of that. I've been one lucky guy, but again, it's just for the fans to enjoy or not. You know what I mean? But I've got some ideas. Yeah, definitely on the Frank idea. Not
can
the
you
word
can
that everyone.
Can you give me a line or two?
No, I wouldn't have thought so.
Do James and I were laughing earlier because we were messaging each other about doing this, and I was like, "Do you want to come on and sing?" And he's like, "No." And it's like the amount of times I said, "Do you want to come on and sing?" And he's like, "No." It's like I'm used to him saying no to me. He's like, "Yeah, okay." I
don't know how I keep getting away with it, but I've not even got my start. I've not even got. Well, I'm on voice rest, Chris. I've been told I'm on voice rest. So
I'm only joking. I don't blame you.
I'm joking. I'm not. But I've got some ideas that I think something that's going to hopefully stick. But these things are always down to the fans. It's exactly how they should be. I'm quite old school in the term of our chants to come about, like down the pub, getting with your mates and singing things, and it needs to be down to the fan-led thing. And if they take to it, they take to it. But yeah, I've got some ideas. Got some ideas with it. I'm loving Thomas Frank instead. Just leave it at that, and off I go. No, I'm joking. No, I've got some ideas, but yeah, in assessment to last season, again, I had such. They were definitely the best days of my life, and if something can give you that raw emotion and that feel that we're now talking a month later and you're still getting goosebumps, then I don't care at all about that league position. I only care about the league position in terms of it would only be a conversation if he was still in post, I suppose, as well. Then you would be bringing that into each conversation. But in a way, now the things have developed the way that they've developed, that league position doesn't really matter because it's to do with that trophy now, and he's delivered on that. And the thing I would say is obviously I would imagine he knew from quite early on that we weren't going to get relegated, and we was picking up a lot of injuries. On that quickly, I don't know, you know a lot more than me. I get a lot of Spurs fans be thinking is there been changes in the medical team? I know they were putting adverts out for about it a long while ago, but that's the thing that's more important to me. What happened there? Because that was just so never heard of, and so unfortunate for Ange. And that's not on Ange. Do you know what I mean? It's not. You could say maybe a percentage of it because of his training routines and that as well. But some of these injuries were not done by that. And so yeah, that scares me. If we had the same exact team going into next season, then we have to think about the league position. But we haven't, and so that will just dissolve. So you know that 17th, I don't know how we won it in Bilbao. We were mucking around with putting champions. I don't know how we won it in Bilbao. I try and forget that 17th. This doesn't matter anymore. We've won the trophy. We've got a new manager anyway. Yeah, moving on, and hopefully a nice, happy summer. But that depends on. I'm the same as any Spurs fan. As that, you're still there going. Depends on who comes in. Depends.
Of course. Of course, I feel like there's a big summer coming up. A couple of months, about 2.5 months of the transfer window left. So there's a lot of work to do. James,
did it open today again?
No, it opened from Monday the 16th. So a couple of days ago. Thomas Frank, pleased with the appointment?
Yeah, I think similar to a lot of Spurs fans in terms of. Because of what happened and Ange got sacked, he gave us the trophy, and then Thomas Frank come in. It wasn't like, to me, like, wow, that's like when Mourinho come in and Conte come in. At that time, we were quite excited, but he's already starting to grow on me. Like he's only done a few little interviews, and just the thing with me, and I guess a lot of Spurs fans is I'm all about the badge. You know, whoever's at that post, I'm going to support them, whoever it is. I'm a Tottenham Hotspur fan who wants the people in there and the club to do well, the manager to do well, players to do well. So yeah, I'm behind him, and I'm definitely warming to him in terms of the fact that he said he stands on the shoulders of Ange, the fact that he's acknowledging that. I think he's going to be the sort of personality that Spurs fans are going to warm to, and he is going to unite us. And I quite like the fact of him saying turning the Spurs stadium into a fortress, but if we do that, we've got to do it together. And he's saying the right things, to be honest, in the last few days to excite me more, definitely.
James, before I ask you about the fixtures, on the transfer window, you said that there's a lot to do. What, in terms of positions, what do you think Spurs need to do and really strengthen in this window? Because, as I keep saying, as I've said since we've won the Europa League, that Champions League competition is so much tougher. You know, no disrespect to the Europa League at all, but the teams and the quality is so much greater, and we need more depth. That was so obvious last season. I know you spoke about the injuries there, but in terms of the quality throughout the whole of the squad, there's a lot to do, isn't there?
Yeah, I think it's not just a case of depth, definitely, but it's about, if last season was about like the kids and like your Berryvales or Archie Grays and stuff, and now it needs to be about win now. That I want a nasty number 6 who's a winner. I want a Romero type character as a number 6. I want somebody who can take the scruff of the neck and just that thing with even Romero with Maguire. Like just Maguire was really up for that game. Romero still just squashed it. Romero's a winner. So these are the sort of it's the characters, it's the winners, it's the been there and done that, it's the provens that I want to see come in. And I've seen so little of that in the last season, in the last transfer window, and now you add in going into the Champions League. If we don't do that, I think we're in big trouble. Personally, as much as I'm saying want to enjoy it and all that's the joy of the summer, I think, yeah, we really need to be buying these proven characters and give Frank a go. You know what I mean? With proper winners.
Yeah. Well, I feel like your song that you won't disclose, I feel like that's going to really help Thomas Frank get off to a good start. And talking about good starts, he certainly needs one, because the last couple of jobs he's had, including at Brentford, he hasn't got off to a good start at all. But when you look at the fixtures that were released on Wednesday, we start the season, the brand new campaign, on Saturday, the 16th of August. Some people think that he's going to be moved to the Sunday because of the Super Cup final on the Wednesday. But we face Burnley at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. I've no doubt you'll be there singing before and after. A week later, Man City away. A week later, Bournemouth at home. Then it's the international break. And then we face West Ham United away. Then the Champions League starts. And we have 6 Champions League games in the matter of 3 months. And then we have the other 2 Champions League group stage games in January. But that period of time between September and December, of course, the Carabao Cup is going to be there as well. Games are going to be coming thick and fast. You're looking forward to the new season. It's weird, isn't it? Because it feels like it's only just ended, and we're like, okay, and now we're going to have a break, and then the fixtures come out, and then we're all like, right, come on, can't wait for it to start again.
Well, yeah, but I love that. Like it's not. I've come away to try and switch off, and it's just impossible. You know what I mean? I just don't. So I was so excited when the fixtures come out again. It feels like that. I don't know if you remember when you was a kid and you got that sticker album, you know what I mean? And the stickers are coming out. It's the same sort of feeling like that for me. So, yeah, I'm excited straight away. And I think Thomas Frank's been given a bit of a leg up there at the start, because I remember he was talking on our WhatsApp group that he doesn't have a strong start wherever he goes. So, and I think, being the circumstances of Ange getting a trophy and Thomas Frank coming in, I think he's going to need them kind of games that we've got to. But then we have appointed him early, and he's in there now, so he has some time there. Again, give him some nasty winners. Give him some nasty winners early on. Get him trained up on that.
Yeah, it's so important, though, James, isn't it, to get off to a good start for a new manager, particularly after that we've gone through so many different managers. But when you look at the opening 11 Premier League games, we're only facing one top 5 side, one side that finished in a Champions League spot via the league competition last season. So I do feel like it's very important to get off to a good start for Thomas Frank. And like you mentioned earlier, the fans getting behind the manager.
Yeah, and I feel that Thomas Frank's personality is right for Tottenham. I do feel that, and I think that he's going to speak well at the start, and obviously that's going to mean nothing if the results don't come. But I think that we'll all warm to him by the time kickoff comes, and then Paris Saint-Germain is your first game. That's not too bad, is it? And is he going to come out and say, "Oh, I always win things. I usually win things in my first game. I always win things in my first game"? Is he going to say that when he wins? And but yeah, that's a tough start, isn't it? But what's the pre-season? So we've got Luton, and then we've got Arsenal, Hong Kong, and then we've got Newcastle, Seoul, and then
Bayern Munich away.
Bayern Munich away. That's it.
Yeah.
So he's got a few there, but that's less pre-season games than last season, isn't it? Is it 3?
I've got a feeling they're going to try and fit one more in, and I wouldn't be at all surprised if it was South Korea. But watch this space.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
I'm going to try and play at those. If Hong Kong or South Korea Spurs are listening, I'm going to try and play those pre-seasons. So give me a shout.
Hopefully, I'll see you out there, James. Yeah.
Oh, you coming? Nice.
Yeah. The Champions League nights must be very special for you, singing at those, the European nights, because, you know, like any Tottenham fan, they are special nights, aren't they? European nights at home.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And well, even the Europa League ones were good, but the Champions League ones are amazing. I just think we've forgotten again, the buzz and the goosebumps of that music when that comes out in that first game, home game, is just going to be sensational. There's something about that in there. I know it's just a piece of music, but there's something huge about listening to that at your stadium.
James, what I want to know is when will I stop singing Johnson again? When does it wear off? When does it wear off?
Well, just about Friday 11 p.m. and then I'll release the EP. So just got your.
I can't wait. Yeah. I can't wait. Well, just before I do let you go, let's play it again and remind everyone how they can buy it, and it will be available from Saturday. James, like I said, I could play that throughout the whole of the podcast. Love it. I wish you the best of luck with it. And as I say again, if anyone can support the two charities, fantastic causes, so please do help them. All of the links and details are in the description box and in the comment section. And please do support James and the great work that he does in buying the EP from Saturday. James, thank you so much for joining me. I think you should get back to bed now because you're in the early hours of the morning. So thanks so much. Best of luck with it. And lastly, where can people find you, and how else can they get involved? And I know that you're after going touring again around the world. So if any supporters clubs do want to get in touch, they can.
Yeah, so I'm going to do it again. So I might not be able to do as many, but I will go around. I'm going around again. So now the fixtures are out. The away games, obviously, send over some ideas that you guys have got or some dates that you might have, supporters clubs around the world. I'm going to go and do it again. People can find me at The Voice of Spurs on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube. It's all at The Voice of Spurs. Send me a message, and can't wait for next season now, man. Johnson again on LA.
I'll tell you what, Lewis and Dorset Spur, Lee the Dorset Spur, they'll be absolutely delighted because I was standing right next to them when I was recording that. So they'll be delighted that they're kind of involved in that as well. So brilliant.
His voice, I think his voice comes through on one of them because I've taken bits from all over the stadium, people's recordings and stuff, and he says something like, "Go on, James, go on, have it, James," or something like that. You can hear him shout through some of it. It's quite funny. But that's what I like the beauty of that. Like, I've always liked live recordings. For the atmosphere.
I don't know whether it was on my video or someone else's, but you said to me earlier that when I was filming you singing, that someone knocked. They had a beer and then they were singing and dancing, and they knocked my phone out of my hand, which luckily I just caught, and then carried on filming you doing your thing, which
that same clip, someone nicked someone's hat. I think you're involved in something. Someone's nicked someone. They're all joking. There's no sort of someone's nicked someone's hat. Someone's knocked someone's beer. Someone knocks your phone out, and it goes on the floor. Everyone's sort of laughing and cheering and back singing, and that's exactly what I want the gigs to be like. Do you know what I mean? So I'll put that up at some point. It's the one you sent me with the the champions again. It's off one of them, but it's so funny.
No, it's brilliant, James. As I said, please do support the EP and all James's fantastic work. James, enjoy the rest of your holiday and your break, and do rest that voice. And a number of comments were coming in saying, what other, let me just ask you this before you do go, what other songs have you got planned? I know someone put in the comments about, can you write a song about Christian Romero? Any other new ones coming up apart from thinking along the lines of Thomas Frank having one?
Yeah. So what tends to happen is I'll jot down a load of ideas for different players, and some will fit, some won't fit, some will fit the mood at the time. The player has to hit the ground running as well. But yeah, I've got. Do you know what I have got sent? Well, it's a bit blurry, but it's Romero takes my guitar and he starts playing at part of the after party.
I love all this. Love it.
And Porro, it's something of Pedro Porro. He's got my guitar, and then we're singing. I can't remember what we were singing. I think we're singing, "Oh, when the Spurs go marching in." I'm singing, but Porro's behind me playing the guitar, mucking around like this. And then Romero and Basuma are up there. The trophy's there. It's madness. And then so Romero's took my guitar and walks off during one of the gigs. I'm stood there going, "What's going on?"
Honestly, you must have been standing there thinking, "What the hell? What the hell? You know, how am I here? What is going on?" That must have been amazing.
It's just nuts, man. It's just absolutely nuts. It's again, it feels as you think it would feel if it happened to you. Like the hitting Steve on the head with the trophy was the funniest bit, and then they're all up there, and everyone's just bashing at each other, and then Dragerson hits Bergvall on the head, and then he turns around, but all laughing and joking, and then some liquid falls out, so they must have been doing something with it. I don't know what's going on. It was, but it wasn't like that and then stopped. That was for about 3 hours.
Yeah,
it wasn't like that for a bit, and then it would calm down and play another set. Then they'd come up again. I remember Madison shouting across the stage, "James, where's your guitar? We've got to play again." James comes and grabs me off because I'm not on the stage, because they're all on the stage singing "We Are the Champion." And he drags me on to play again. It's just,
so the very last question for you: who's the best singer in the squad?
Danso.
Oh, I didn't expect that. Okay.
Kevin Danso was just brilliant. He was quality. He was so fun. Yeah, he was amazing. Madison was good. I mean, he came up on Glory, Glory and Sweet Caroline with me.
I think he's been partying recently, isn't he, with McGregor, Wayne Lineker, and Katie Price over in Ibiza. Yeah, so he's carrying on the party.
He wants to see. He's going for bad characters. He wants to come back to James Black, mate. He wants.
James, thank you so much for joining me. I know we can talk for hours, but as I say, you're in Indonesia in the early hours of the morning. So get some sleep. Have a great rest of your holiday, and we will catch up properly at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in August.
Thank you very much for donating, Chris, and thank you for helping support the EP. And like I say, every penny goes towards these causes. So please help out where you can. Always, yeah. And please do get involved, everyone. Please do buy that EP. And as I said, if you want to donate independently as well, you can do that. And all of the details are below. James, thank you so much. We'll speak to you soon. And thanks for watching, everyone. Thanks for listening. And until the next one, come on, you Spurs. Come on, you Spurs.